So, brothers, today I got some tips and tricks for circumventing various privacy issues in today's day and age. Y'all know what's going on, so I don't need to repeat it. So, first up on the chopping block, I recommend you switch over to Monero. You're thinking, what's Monero? And I'm sorry to say it, but it's a cryptocurrency. However, I will say it's a real one. Because, yep, I know crypto's a scam. We've all seen NFTs and other shit coins like whatever the hell Dogecoin. I mean, I'm sure it's probably still around, but the point is that not a very good track record. However, Monero is actually used as a currency quite frequently. Maybe for some nefarious reasons, but mainly because it's private as shit. We're talking so private the government can't tax you on it because they don't know you have it. Kind of private. Just like having physical gold or money or fiat or whatever the word is. I'll link to a site in the description that you can use it to locate a bunch of businesses that support or accept Monero. Uh, do be warned, it does have sponsored sites. I would only trust those with a grain of salt. Anyways, the main reasons why you should switch over to Monero is obviously because it has all of the benefits of paper money in terms of privacy and somewhat security. I mean, if you got robbed with physical money, there's no insurance on that, right? But then it has all the benefits of a digital storage medium. So, for example, let's say you forgot your wallet password, right? But you still had the backup seed. You could regenerate it and regain all those funds, especially if it was a cold wallet. So, no issue there. And you get all the other benefits of it being digital. So, it's convenient because it's over the internet. You don't have to meet somebody in person to give that money, you don't have to mail it off. And then it's also encrypted and it's basically backed up to that blockchain kind of thing. Next up, we need a good way to communicate without any spyware. There's actually two ways to do this. You can either use a PGP or GPG setup where you just tell the other person, hey, we're using PGP now, send only encrypted messages, and boom, anything you use, any messaging protocol you use, immediately encrypted. Not even Mark Zuckerberg can break that because there's no backdoors in it if you are encrypting it on your own. However, I personally recommend SimpleX Chat, mainly because it's decentralized, it's highly secure, it's already end-to-end encrypted with quantum grade encryption. And then the best part though is that there's no phone numbers, no emails, no form of sign up. You just download it, you name your profile, and you just use the directory service to start chatting with random people anonymously. There's even an option to generate a new anonymous profile for literally every single chat you make, which is perfect. And then finally, this is the part I'm very excited about, I2P. Because going forward, I believe this will become the backbone of like the new internet that's going to be coming in the future because all these fucking countries are trying to section off their little corner of the internet. And I think I2P is going to be the underground tunnels that keep them all bridged together. So the reason why I say it's the future though is because it's literally like the 90s internet currently. It's perfect for indie web development, and I highly encourage you to go make some form of website, share your opinions, your conspiracy theories, your art, whatever the hell. I would say you could post stuff about yourself, but I wouldn't. Just because it's encrypted doesn't mean, the feds can't get on there. They could just use I2P as well. And if you put your identity on there, you know, they're going to come after you, knock on your door like, hey, why are you using highly encrypted stuff to post cat videos, hopefully? Um, but, anyways, so you can share all your stuff on here. You can set up like an indie website, just do whatever the heck you want. And then you can use this as an opportunity to add all of your other privacy related stuff. You could put like QR codes or your SimpleX Chat link so that people can message you, hit you up for Monero based services. The other thing is, though, it is incredibly easy to host a website on I2P. Arguably easier than just hosting it straight up like on the ClearNet because you just literally host like a bog standard web server. And there's two I2P versions. There's the Java version that comes with its own built-in Jetty web server, and then there's the I2PD version, which that one I think you still have to set up an HTTP server tunnel in the settings. However, it is still very easy. You just set up the tunnel, and it's going to give you a base 32 address, which you just give that to anyone, and they can just access your website, which is pretty cool. I will say you got to be careful with it. You don't want to expose your entire network, your drive to the network. So you got to be careful with that. But so yeah, that's SimpleX Chat, I2P, Monero. I'm gonna leave a ton of links and helpful resources in the description, help you guys along through these trying times. Um, some quick, just want to get some like common stuff out of the way. Not common stuff, but like just want to help you out a little bit. So first up, for Monero, it's perfectly fine to get it from a know your customer exchange as long as you transfer that to a cold wallet as quickly as you can. Because once you get it out of the wallet, I mean, so I'm gonna be honest. So the feds, if they ever do request an audit for your taxes, they're gonna know you got the Monero from an exchange. They'll know exactly how much you spent into it. However, once it's out of that wallet, they can't do shit with that. And for tax reasons, all you need to do is say, um, you just lost the cold wallet, right? Like it just magically disappeared. That's so it happens all the time. You put it on a USB drive and it just falls down the drain. There goes $100 in Monero, right? That for tax reasons, you just gotta say that. Even if it disappears for down a financial drain, you know what I'm saying, right? And then other thing, it's actually a little bit more tricky to get Monero back into USD. I did see some services on Monerica. That's the link I'm gonna leave in the description. And it's like I forget what it was called. It's like basically it was a card service that would give you like a Mastercard, and you give them Monero, and they'd take a 3% cut, and then the rest would go onto a prepaid Mastercard, which I don't know if anybody's actually used it or not. I've only ever found one review on it for like what was it? I think like somebody put $20 of LTC in there and didn't get it back or something. I don't know. There is obviously going to be some risk going with financial stuff like this. It's still technically new, but anyways, so the next thing, SimpleX Chat. So you want to use the directory service. You can type anything in there. You can type in privacy. You can type in memes. There's going to be a lot of different channels on there. Most of it is privacy oriented. I will put a link to my own SimpleX Chat if you guys want to hit me up on SimpleX Chat. Yeah, that's obviously an option. And then finally, I2P. So it is very let's just say there's not a lot of people on it anymore, but here's some good things about it. I'm gonna be honest. So you can just watch Mental Outlaws video. I'm gonna link that in the description. Highly recommended it. He goes into more detail on how to set it up and all that. But anyways, I think it drives more competition because since it's decentralized and kind of so peer-to-peer clusters, they can kind of fracture off if like a few of the links break, so they can kind of isolate into tiny little islands if only temporarily. And this can happen with the changing internet. The internet's going to be changing over the course of the many months coming in the future, so this could be happening on a larger scale. Like we're talking like more than like 1,000, 2,000 people in I2P just get sectioned off into their own sub cluster until somebody bridges that gap again. And for this reason, it is encouraged to get on there and provide your service, even if it's quote unquote saturated. Like it's better to have a bunch of people providing the same service, so in case one of these events does happen, the network's more resilient. This also means people are going to probably do more research on their clients and make sure they're trusted, and they're going to try and find actual good work instead of relying on underpaid people on Fiverr, for example. Uh, this honestly might just be misguided yapping, but the other main thing about I2P is that it is slow. The more people though that get on there, the faster it gets, the stronger it gets, the more resilient it gets, the more private it gets because it does traffic mixing, 6 layers of encryption. It's really cool. I think it also tries to disguise itself as normal internet traffic as well. But the point is, Highly recommended. Um, and it's also it's a good place for if you want a more optimized internet. You go there, you're only going to get websites that are designed to load fast because who would want to sit there and wait 5 minutes for a 50 megabyte website to load? That would take just as long as it would take in the 90s. But I'm yapping on a little too long here, but you get the picture that together these actually could create a really good like backbone or like bunker for the internet as a whole. You can just get on I2P, host all your services, use Monero to do the transactions so the government can't track you, get your ID on you, and use SimpleX Chat to talk it up. Like I would say you could use forums on I2P. That is always an option. There's also emails over I2P, but just because I'm going to say the email protocols just in general are very unsecure, I wouldn't trust that. So use your PGP, your GPG, whatever it is. It's like GNU PG or something, and then your SimpleX chats. You'll be fine. Um, but yeah, that's it for this video.